Hey everyone, what's up? This is Simon from DevTactic. Today I will show you how to integrate Spotify inside your Ionic Framework app. So let's start with a blank Ionic app. Once our app is completely initiated, we will have to install ng-Cordova, which we will use to perform the OAuth process with Spotify, and also an AngularJS wrapper for the Spotify REST API. So this will give us everything we need. And also you can start to create your own app on the Spotify developer portal. So go to your applications and create your app. And what you have to take care of at this point is you want to add localhost callback as a redirect URI. Okay, so once you've done this, you only need the client ID inside your app, but we will come to this later. Alright, so our app is ready. Let's open it, and also let's install ng-Cordova and also Angular Spotify. As I said, this is a wrapper for the Spotify web API, and there are a ton of useful endpoints you can use. It also offers a login, but this one was not working for me inside the Ionic app, so that's why I just used ng-Cordova, because ng-Cordova makes life a lot easier and it's easy to use. Okay, so inside your app.js you can also start, let's give it the right name. This is my Spotify, and next to Ionic we want ng-Cordova, we want Spotify, and we will also have a file with our controllers. So let's already import that one. You can create that file inside your JS folder. So create the controllers.js, and we come to this point later. Alright. Also inside your index.js, make sure to load the controllers.js, and also above the Cordova line, make sure to load ng-Cordova, and this should be, yes, this ng-Cordova.js, and also the Angular Spotify, also this should be, yes. So the ng-Cordova.js and also the Angular Spotify min.js and the controllers.js. Alright, so make sure to create your Spotify app, because very soon we will need that key. But first of all, let's go to our app.js. Our app will consist of two states, so we need a simple config for our states. So go ahead, add the state provider as a dependency, and also the URL router provider. Alright, so you should always have this fallback state. So if no root matches, just go to /, and the state provider config, as I said, consists of two states. The first is the list state. This will be our basic state, so the URL of this will be /, so the default one. It will have a template. We will install, or we will create this in a second, and also it will have a controller. So this will control our Spotify lists in general. The second state is for a specific playlist. So this is the playlist state. And inside this state, again, we have a URL. But this time the URL is a bit more complicated, so let's give it playlist. And we also need 3 parameters we need to pass to this state. So one is the list ID of the selected list. One is the current user ID. So we could use the root scope or any service for this, but for now we will just pass it here. And also the name of the list. But this is very straightforward as well. Again, we will use a template file and also a controller. Okay, that's everything for our app.js. So let's go to our index, remove all of that stuff and make sure to give it the name of your app. And inside, it's very simple because at this point we only need the Navbar, which has simple styling. Let's give it the Spotify green. And also inside the Navbar, we obviously want to have a nav back button. So once we go to a playlist, we automatically will get this back button, you know, from iOS or Android. Alright, that's the Navbar. And our views will just get rendered inside this nav view. So there's nothing more we need to do inside this view. But we could start to also add our needed files. So we need a templates folder, and inside the templates folder we need the list HTML, and we also need the playlists HTML. Alright. So it's not playlists, it should be playlist, because this is a specific list. Playlist HTML. Perfect. Now let's go to our controller. First of all, define the module. So my Spotify.controllers, the one we've imported inside our app.js, and an empty dependencies array. Also, we will make a dummy implementation for the playlists controller. Or again, this should be the playlist controller. I'm sorry. This is just for one playlist. Okay. And just do what we need at this point so we don't get any errors. But the second one is the more important one right now. So this will be the lists controller. Now it's plural. And inside this controller we need to log into Spotify, grab the OAuth token and make a request to get the playlist of a user. So what we need inside this controller is the scope. We also need the Ionic platform to catch the ready event. We need Cordova OAuth. And finally we need Spotify, which is from Angular Spotify. So first of all, make sure to define your client ID here. I will paste mine in a second. And also we will have a scope array of playlists, which is empty at this point. Okay. So what we want to do is, once the Ionic platform is ready, which means we can use the Cordova plugins, we want to check if we got any stored token. So we try the local storage, get item, and let's say it might be under Spotify token. So if this stored token does somehow exist, we want to use this token and also update the playlist info. In the other case, we just want to perform our login. And this is what will happen once we start the app the first time. So this is the perform login function. And this is the one we want to call if we don't have any stored token. We will come to this point in a second. So inside perform login, we need to call Cordova OAuth .spotify, and we need to pass the client ID and also an array of permissions we want. So there are a lot, you can find them in the developer console or area or whatever. For now, we want just to read the private data of the user, and we also want to read the private playlists of a user. And once this is ready, we get some result hopefully, and at this point we can say window.local storage set item for the Spotify token, and what we want to set is the result.access token. So this will store our OAuth token in the local storage for now. This is just a simple use case, so yeah, don't flame me for this, please. Alright, so this is now the first time we use the AngularJS wrapper for the Spotify API, and we call set auth token, and again this is result.access token. So this will tell the API what's our OAuth token, and from this point we can use it and have fun with the API. Also, let's catch an error, we never know. So just in case something happens or goes wrong. Alright, so okay, yeah, I can copy this. So if we can get the token from the local storage, we obviously also want to tell Spotify what's our token right now. And now we need to call the API and update the info. Okay, so what will this do? Inside update info, we will just call Spotify get current user to get some more information about the current user, because we need the user ID later on to get access to a specific list of a specific user. So we just call get current user, and we will also handle the error here. Oh, okay, so if we can't get the current user, which means maybe something went wrong, we're not logged in anymore, we should try to perform the OAuth login again at this point. And also we want to update the info once we have set the auth token for the Spotify API, which is up here. So when we get it from the local storage, or when we've just logged in the first time. Alright, once we got the data from the user, we want to get a user, or get all of the user playlists. and at this point we need the user ID. So inside the getCurrentUser promise, we call scope getUserPlaylists with the data and user.id. So finally, inside getUserPlaylists, we only need to call Spotify getUserPlaylists. I really like this API. It's really easy to use, or this wrapper in general. So thanks to the person who developed it. Alright, we want to get the user playlist for a specific user ID, and we get some data back, and at this point we can use our playlists array and just set it to the items of this array. So the last thing we need to do right now is open the lists HTML and craft a little view around what we've just gotten from the API. So as I said, these will be my playlists, or the playlists of the user. And inside this view, very straightforward, Ion content with some header padding, and also inside an Ion list. This code completion doesn't work at all, or not the way I want it to work. If you can point me to any good code completion for Atom, yeah, let me know. So as I said, we got an Ion list and we got Ion items, and we want to repeat over every list in our playlists. And we just want to print the name of the list. This will be enough at this point. Okay, so we obviously also want to click on a list and come to the tracks of that list. So we need the UASRef, which will make us go to a state, and we want to go to the playlist state, playlist, as it is defined here. And we need to pass those parameters, so list ID, user ID, and list name. And how we can do this? Very simple. We make an object, and all we have to do is set those parameters inside this object, and we can get all those information from the current list object we got. And the name of the list would be list.name. Alright, so at this point you should be able to run your app. So make sure to paste your client ID inside here. So for whatever reason, perform login and update info should be before this Ionic platform ready, because at this point I got some undefined error. Also, what I needed to install was the in-app browser plugin. I thought this was already included, but just make sure to add the Cordova plugin for the in-app browser. Okay, so there have been minor problems. So make sure your name of your scope variable is correct at this point. And also make sure to just get data.id, not data.user.id. I'm not sure, once I tried this it was correct, but somehow this might change, so make sure to only use this one. Alright, so and when you start your app the first time, you will see the Spotify OAuth login dialog. So insert your credentials, and once you're done, you should see all of your current playlists. And when you click on them, nothing happens. So let's work on that. And for this, we need to go to our playlists controller and add some functions. But first of all, let's fill the dependency array. We need scope, and we need the state params to get the passed parameters, and again we need the Spotify wrapper. So how can we get the list ID and all those parameters? It's very simple. We can just use the state params dot list ID. So if we've specified those parameters here, like list ID, user ID, and list name, we can just get them through the state params. So as I said, now we can just use the rest of it. And also we want to store the list name in the scope variable, because we can show the name in our header bar later on. Okay, as I said, we also want to play some audio. At this point, this is limited to 30 seconds through the Spotify web API, but you can take a look at my post and recommendations for what you can do else. So there's already a Cordova wrapper for the Spotify SDK, and with that you should be able to really stream the complete songs. But for now, we will be happy with a list of tracks and also a 30-second preview. And so at the top we create this audio variable, and we will later set the source of it and just start playing it. And also we obviously need the track list, which is an empty array at this point. So once we come to our controller, we obviously want to get the tracks of a playlist. So first of all, we want to call get playlists, and at this point we need the user ID and also the list ID. And with that data we can fill our tracks array. I hope data.tracks.items is correct now. If not, we will see it. And also we need some more functions to play a track, and this will be very straightforward. Once we click on a track, we get the track info, and we will set the source for our scope audio to the track info dot track dot preview URL, and also just call scope audio dot play, and this should start playing the music. We also want a stop function, so just in case we try or we check if our scope audio source is set, and if that's the case, we want to pause the audio. Alright. And yes, we also need, once we've stopped the preview, we need to play it again from a button. So this is just the same like stop, but the reverse. And finally, one more thing. We also want to have the possibility to open the track directly in Spotify, because the API gives us the correct link to, or a deep link to the Spotify app. So with this link we can use the in-app browser and pass the link and say we want to have a blank view inside our app. So this will open the in-app browser, and you will see how this works in a second. So the most important part is up here where we get the playlist and set our scope tracks to this information. So finally, let's go to the playlist HTML, and I'm gonna copy a bit of this. I'm a bit lazy now. So the name is list name. We defined this as a scope variable. And we also got the ion list and we got ion item, but now we got the item in tracks and we don't need this clickable link, but we want to have a cool list card optic. So inside this ion item, we first want to have a simple tiny image, avatar image of the album. And this is very simple. So all of this information is inside this item. You can check what's inside, but at this point you have to trust me. Yeah, a bit crazy, but that's just what the source is. And also we want obviously the name of the track and a bit smaller. Well, just say this is an array, but we will just take the first artist. I'm so sorry for the third, the second, and well, the first artist is the best, you know. Alright, so this is the avatar for our card. And then we got the bottom area. We don't have a real body of this card, but we don't need this at all. So we just have these tabs at the bottom of every card, and inside we will have two of them. So a bit more of styling. Oh, sorry. So as I said, we want to start a track and we pass all the information of this track at this point. We also have a simple icon. This is all styling. You don't have to do this, but I like when apps look, well, not like shit at the first time. So this is our play preview button. Oh, come on, not play preview URL. Yes, perfect. And as I said, we want to have two of them. So the second one should call the open Spotify function inside. And what we need to pass is item track external URLs dot Spotify. So this is a specific Spotify deep link, and let's give it the share icon and also say open in Spotify. Alright, this might be enough at this point. Hopefully it's working. So again, I mixed up playlists and lists. Obviously we only want to get one playlist at this point. And also we forgot about one very important aspect, and this is right below the Ion content. We want to add a footer bar. Oh god. Well, whatever, this is fine for now. And we only want to show this bar when our audio source is set. So inside, I'll remove this and remove that. Yes, yes, Ion footer bar. Yes, this is the footer bar. And some styling. And we need this footer bar because we want to control our simple player. So we want to call the play and stop function from the footer bar. So this is play and this is the stop button, and obviously we need the ng click event. So this will call play, and the second one, guess what, will call stop. And also we want to have a tiny icon inside. Sorry. So play for play and for stop. Guess what? Stop. Oh, sorry. Close this one. Alright, now it should be finished. Again, let's build. So I hope you know how to use this Spotify wrapper and how to use Cordova OAuth with the Spotify API and how to read some data from the REST API at this point, because that's exactly what you should have learned after this video. So let's give it a last try. I hope this is the last one we need right now. And maybe you have not done that many errors like I did, because you're clever. So here are our playlists. Let's go to Discover Weekly. We can go back, we can go in. So let's go to my little training playlist and let's play a preview of this song. Yeah, that's obviously the preview of this song. We can continue it, we can stop it, and let's try the last function. We want to open it in Spotify. And this page appears, and this gives us the option to directly play this song inside the Spotify app. So this is the specific deep link, and that's exactly how you contact the Spotify REST API, how to grab data, and how to play a song preview inside your Ionic Framework app. So if you like this tutorial, come to my blog, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, leave me a comment if you liked it.